everybody, it's Sam at Mixed Up Craft. Thank you for watching my tutorial today. I'm going to be showing you how to make what I'm calling a double concertina gatefold card. So this is how it looks when you take out the envelope, and I'll talk you through that in a moment. And then basically these sides all pop out. You can see there the concertina fold, and it stands up really nicely. It's just got a great profile. I just love it. Also, I love the holographic cardstock. I think it works really good with the angles and just all those different panels. It's got a real like Art Deco look about it. And I just, yeah, really pleased with it. If you wanted to put pattern paper on everything, you can, but I just really liked how you see those kind of triangles when you open it, and then you just, yeah, you just get hit with all this cool colour and stuff as it catches the light. And then on the back you've got lots of room there to stamp and write your message. And then the envelope I've made is slightly, it's like a more of a padded style envelope, so it's just got an extra 1/4 of an inch kind of side all the way around there, and I've just done that on the envelope punch board, which I'll show you. And I've also just attached one of my wax seals on the back there, so I've got it all. I just was playing around seeing how they all looked. I need to obviously, this one will not get filled out yet because I've got nobody to give this one to just yet, but when I do go around to needing one, then I can just, you know, pop a little glue dot underneath that and it's all stuck down. Then I've just popped a piece of plain card on the front there, but I've used matching papers as well, so the whole thing, I don't know, just makes it look very pretty. So let me show you how to make this. Okay, so that's what I keep all my wax seals in, so I've just done a lot of mine, so I've got them ready, and then I just attach them to the envelope with my like foam sticky pads. I did try using the hot glue, and if it's too hot it's just going to melt the wax, so you do need to be very careful if you're going to use hot glue, but otherwise I just use a liquid glue, and like I said, the foam tabs work fine. But yeah, I'll pull one of those out near the end of this video. So I've already done 1/2. We'll go through all of that, and I've done the topper again. We'll talk through all of that. So the paper I used for that one I showed you is the new first edition Bloom and Wonder. So this is the 12 by 12, and it's really lovely, and I use this one here, and then they have this kind of cut out sheet here, and that's where that, it was that section there was where the peacock image was. So that's that one. And then for today's, I've gone back to an oldie, one of my, well, it is possibly, yeah, my most favourite ever first edition paper, and it's Let's Celebrate. I just absolutely adore this one. So that's the one I'm using. Again, you can still get it as well. Okay, so you want 2 pieces of 10 by 7. Okay, so I'm going for this nice pink colour to just pull in, you know, all the colours from the cake there that I fussy cut. And what we'll do first of all, so you can either score both pieces at 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, and then one of them you'll just flip around, okay? Or you can score one at 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, and one at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so either way it doesn't matter, but you will need to do that on 2 pieces. Okay, and then what we're going to do before we fold and burnish all of our score lines there, on one, so say this one here I'm talking you through now, you're going to come up from the bottom up here, and it's 3.5 inches. Yeah, okay. Then on this one you would need to flip it so those score lines are on the right hand side, because this big 5 by 7 section in the middle, they're going to stick on top of each other. So you want your, all those 1 inch lines, you want one lot on the left and you want one lot on the right. Then on this one you're going to mark a pencil mark again 3.5 inches up. I mean, it's halfway. Yeah, okay, so you can see there I've just put a little pencil mark at 3.5 inches, but when you go to cut it you need to make sure that you're doing your angles in the right direction. So on the left hand section you're going to cut from the 3.5 section up to here, and then on the right hand side you're going to cut from the 3.5 section up to there. Okay, so I'm just popping it in my trimmer, lining up that 5 inch center score line here on the side of the blade, and then just bring this one down to that pencil mark like so. Come up a little bit there and trim that off. This one here where you've got your score lines on the left, fold it all in half, okay, and then you're going to do a mountain fold, a valley, a mountain, a valley. Okay, so you have that concertina on one side. Then on the other piece where you've got everything on the right, fold it all over again, but this time it will open obviously to the, you know, out to the right rather to the left, but you're going to fold the same way. So then you're going to have a valley, a mountain, a valley and a mountain. Again, just make sure you burnish all of those score lines really well, like so. Okay, so I'll just hold them there so you can see. You want to make sure you're cutting down in the right, on the right angle on each piece, and make sure you got one on the left and one on the right. And then it doesn't matter which one you stick over the top, but one of them wants to go over the other and cover that whole 5 by 7 section. So I've just got some of my glue here. And I'm just going to cover the back and then just sit that whole one over the top like so. I'm going to remove my score ball because I don't want to get any glue on that. And just make sure it all lines up perfectly. Fold that over. Again, it should all line up nicely. Okay, and just fold it all back in again like so. You can see your card now will stand up nicely. With this piece here, this is going to go right in the middle. Now with my decoration, what I've done is I've made this centerpiece so that you can fold in, once that's all stuck down, you can fold in the sides and you'll still see all of that. That's just the way I've done it. There's nothing to say that you can't obviously, you know, have a bigger image, you know, it's entirely up to you. But this piece here, the holographic cardstock, is a piece of 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and then the pattern paper is 4 1/2 by 6 1/2, and then this smaller section here is 3 1/8 of an inch by 4 1/2, and then the pink piece for me is 2 7/8 of an inch by 4 1/4. Okay, yeah, 4 1/4. And I've just put some foam pads behind this holographic piece here, just so that's got some dimension. And then the fussy cut image, again, I've put on some foam tabs as well, because the height of this piece almost starts to level up with the height of this kind of springy concertina fold, which is why it fits nicely in that more padded kind of style envelope. And then this one here, I've put foam on the back as well. So I'm just going to stick that one down in the center. Should have a nice even border. It all folds up and you've got that nice centerpiece. For the back, this is a piece of 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. Yeah, so I'm just going to stick this one down while it's here. Okay, now if you want, that can be the card done. Okay, it does look lovely. I think you really see the folds. You know, it's got a great look about it. But if you do want to add a bit more, like I am, then you're going to need 4 pieces. These measure 3 3/4 by 6 5/8 of an inch. Okay, now what I would suggest you do is work on one side at a time, just so you don't confuse yourself, because obviously you're working on an angle, and just concentrate on like one side first. Okay, so I'm not going to cut all these at the same time, so I'm going to work with this one first, and I want to cover these. Well, let's just say we're just going to work on the back here first of all. Okay, so it would go from the top here down there. You just want to make sure your angle goes the same way as whatever side it is that you're working on. Sorry, I know I'm off screen a bit there. Okay, but just make sure your angle's the same. So you want to come down on whatever side you're going to bring your angle down to. You want to come down at 2 5/8 of an inch. And I'm just going to use this here. So 2 5/8. I'm just going to mark just there. I'll just put a little marker just here, and then with my trimmer I'm going to cut from that top left down to that point on the right hand side, like so. So now we know this is going to go in here. Then turn it around so you're along the flat side, and you want to trim at every 3/4 of an inch. So I can see here it's at 3 3/4, so I'm just going to bring it down to the 3 inch, trim, bring it down to 2 1/4, trim, then down to 1 1/2, trim, and then down to 3/4. Alright, so I'd already worked that all out for you. And then you'll see that this one will fit. The first one, the tallest one, will fit perfectly. The rest now you're going to have to trim a little bit off of the bottom of each one, but the angle will be perfect on all of them, and that's the most important part. So it was just easier to cut the angle rather than do the angle different, you know, cut that separately on each one, because the likelihood of you being able to get the angle perfect on every one, you know, is obviously more challenging to do. But so the first one fits in there perfectly, and you'll have that nice border. This next one here, you want to just bring it up so it has the same border, but down here again, I just find marking mirrored card better with like a poker tool rather than a pencil, because you can't rub it out. But I'm just going to mark, you know, so it lines up with the other silver or mirrored piece there, and that's where I'm going to trim that piece. Then bring the next size down, so your next largest one, again line it up so you've got the same border at the top here as you've got there, and again just mark them, keep them in order just so you know, and then this one here. And it's just better to do this each side at a time, and then you know exactly where you are, because if you do all these pieces then it's just gonna you know, it might confuse yourself. Although saying that, just thinking, you will need, probably you'll do this one twice because it will be the same as what goes in this section on this side, because you do both sides if you want. So you see there, that one will fit perfectly in there, so you can cut two of them, and that one where it just, you know, I've done that little marker, it lines up the same. So you will do two like that. So you could grab your other piece, come down 2 5/8 on that same side because it's exactly the same piece, so 2 5/8. I'm just going to push those up there. So once you get used to doing it and that, then you know, by all means cut them all and just keep them in their own like little piles or something. There's that one, and then again just twist it around, and again bring that one down to 3, and just, you know, drop it down by 3/4 each time. I can do with this one, I know the first one's perfect in terms of its size, and then this one I can just bring this one next to it and just use that marker there. So just use that as your guide. Just make sure the bottoms line up. So now I know that I've got that piece to cover this back of this side, but the inside of that side, and then if you flip them that way with your two pieces of this, you're going to do the same, but this time you're going to come down by 2 5/8 on the left hand side. So on those two we came down on the right, on this one we're going to come down on the left. And then again pop it in here and just drop it down 3/4 each time. Do that on the other one, but now you can see the first one always will fit perfectly, and then the rest you just want to mark again. Okay, so I'm going to go and get them all done and get them all stuck down. Okay, so there is the card. Now I don't think I'm going to put pattern paper here. I'm going to keep this one just all with just that mirrored cardstock. But if you do want to add a piece just on these two front panels, you may want to do pattern paper on all of them as well. I mean, I may well do that in, you know, future when I make this card again. But for the minute, I just want to keep it. It's like a disco. So, but if you did want to do these ones here, because I'll bring in this one again. You can see I've just put pattern paper on the front panels. So you will need two pieces that are, they will be 1/2 inch wide by, we're going to look at 3.5, and then you'll just have to do your angle. Okay, but yeah, I mean, you can see it's up to you. It does, they both look lovely. So I just want to see all this mirrored cardstock. So now we want to make the envelope. So it's really straightforward, really easy to do, but I am using the envelope punch board. So you want a piece, because this is going to be for a 5x7 envelope. Just grab it here. So you just want to find 5x7, which is the card size. It's telling me I need a piece of paper that's 9.5 by 9.5. So I've got this piece here, which isn't actually from the paper pad. I always go for a paper when I make the envelopes rather than a cardstock. And I've got this big paper pad, which I've shared before, and I've just found one that matches really well. So it's telling me my first score line is the 4-inch score line. So here, I'm just going to take this out. I'll link up a video on how to use this, because I always get asked it whenever I bring it in, but I've done a separate tutorial on that. So I'm going to line this up with 4 inches, punch and score. Don't worry if you can't go all the way down, it will all work out in a moment. But then I'm also going to then move it along to the 4 1/4. Don't punch, just score. Okay, then I like to flip it so this is now at the bottom and work on the opposite side. Again, pop it in at 4 and score. punch and score, and then move it along 4 1/4, but do not punch, although you go to want to do it, just score down that line. Then for the next ones, all you're doing is bringing it along here, so just look at this kind of little notch here until it sits with this score line here. There's this score line. You just want to line it up with that and then score. And then this time you want to just pull it along, focusing here until this score line that you've just scored comes out by about 1/4 inch again, because you can't use it up there. But I have just roughly, you know, can see that that's 1/4 inch there. If you want to, you know, measure between the score lines with your pencil, but again, yeah, that's fine. I'm happy with that. And then again, flip it to the other side, bring this along until it hits that corner, score, and then I'm just going to bring it out a little bit more to about there and score. Okay, get rid of that excess. Oh, I didn't punch on those sides. You have got a punch there. So yeah, when you've lined it up there on those 2 other sides, you're just doing that 1 punch. So again, just bring that down. There we go. It's the second one you just don't want to punch on, okay? And then just fold. If I bring it up, you'll see now those score lines. So you see we've got 2 1/4 inch apart. It's just by doing that simple, you know, extra score line, it will give you that bulk. But like I say, if you don't want to do that and you'd rather do a box envelope, then just follow that link that I would have put in earlier, and you'll be able to make one. So I'm just going to fold and burnish both of those score lines. Okay, and then just using some double-sided tape, I'm going to run. So your sides are going to come in, and then this is going to come up. So you just want to run it along as close to that without going over. I've just ripped all that, it's my own fault. In fact, I'm going to bring it in a thinner, what have I got here? There we go, that was thinner. So you just want to line it up with the edge there, and this one here. There we go. Take the backing off, and then when you bring up the base, you want to make sure that you bring up the sides like you're constructing a box, and just make sure you've got a nice right angle, because if you come in too tight, so just bring up the sides so they, you know, like I said, it sits at a right angle, and it should, yeah, just tack itself. But you can go in inside the envelope there, and then this one will just automatically kind of line up. And then again, take the backing off of that one, just bring up the sides there, like so. And then bring all that down. I always turn it upside down and pop it in envelopes. That way anything that you've got that might catch will slide in nicely. And now you can bring that one over, and there's your envelope. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull out one of these, and it's the hot pink. I might do maybe the silver, because it's sitting there, that doesn't look so good there. See, I like that one. Let's do that one. So I've got a foam pad here. This is probably too big. Let's just trim this down a little. I'm just going to pop the foam pad right down into the corner there. Take the backing off. You don't have to use a foam dot. Like I said, you can use a glue dot. And then I'm just going to stick that on top. So that one says "with love" on it, and then when I do go to stick it, I've just got to put some, you know, glue underneath there. But once that all squares off again, can you see? It's cute. So there is the envelope, and then I'll just cut a white piece. Sometimes I put a sticker on there, just like those labels. But now we've got a nice envelope and then a gorgeous card, which is just, like I said, it's like a party. It looks really, really cool, and then it's, yeah, it stands up perfectly. So that's that one. And then that one. So it will, once it's been in the envelope, that will kind of stay. See, this stays a bit more. This is just quite bouncy still. Plus it's got all that cardstock, so it just needs to settle. But it will kind of be a bit more manageable once you've popped it in the envelope for a while. But yeah, there are my my concertina gatefold cards. So I hope you like them. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. And I'll be back again very soon with another fun tutorial.